Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, just reading the Bhagavatam. And today is a special day. Today is Bhava's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Hare Krishna to you.
Today being 14th December.
14th December, yeah.
Just to get that right.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're reading Bhagavatam. Where are we? What are we doing?
Canto 4, Chapter 10, Text 10.
Chapters and title.
Dhruva Maharaj's fight with the Yakshas.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Verse 10. Just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by anyone's feet, the Yakshas, being intolerant of the wonderful prowess of Dhruva Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows, 6 on each of their soldiers, and thus they very valiantly exhibited their prowess. Text 11 and 12. The Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry, and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruva Maharaj. With full strength they showered upon Dhruva Maharaj, along with his chariot and charioteer, various types of feathered arrows, parigas, iron bludgeons, nishtrimsas, swords, prasasulas, tridents, parasvadas, lances, saktis, pikes, rishtis, spears, and busundi, weapons. So they came well armed.
Well armed, well oared.
Text 13. Dhruva Maharaj was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapons, just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out in this connection that although Dhruva Maharaj was covered by the incessant arrows of the enemy, this does not mean that he succumbed in the battle. The example of a mountain peaks being covered by incessant rain is just suitable for when a mountain is covered by incessant rain. All dirty things are washed from the body of the mountain. Similarly, the incessant shower of arrows from the enemy gave Dhruva Maharaj new vigour to defeat them. In other words, whatever incompetency he might have had was washed away. I guess it's like when you see someone like in a movie or this, and it's like when the enemy gets puffed up or speaks big like proud words, and then you see the hero get even more like I can put like energized to kill him, you know. So it's almost like they're showering him with all these different weapons, and it's winding him up. Like it's like giving him more energy almost, you know. It's not defeating him. It's kind of like powering him up like a Duracell battery, and then you're just gonna like sort them out.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. Text 14. All the siddhas from the higher planetary system were observing the fight from the sky, and when they saw that Dhruva Maharaj had been covered by the incessant arrows of the enemy, they roared tumultuously, "The grandson of Manu, Dhruva, is now lost." They cried that Dhruva Maharaj was just like the sun, and that now he had set within the ocean of the Yakshas. Purport. In this verse, the word Manava is very significant. Generally, the word is used to mean human being. Dhruva Maharaj is also described here as Manava. Not only is Dhruva Maharaj a descendant of Manu, but all human society descends from Manu. According to Vedic civilization, Manu is the lawgiver. Even today, Hindus in India follow the laws given by Manu. Therefore, everyone in human society is a Manava, or descendant from Manu. But Dhruva Maharaj is a distinguished Manava because he is a great devotee. Yeah, I mean, interesting that there is, of course, an accepted idea of someone called Manu, and that he has, I think it's called the Manu Samhita, you know, the words of Manu, who is the lawgiver, and sometimes it's referred to like that in India, that there are these laws and there is this personality who is meant to be overseeing. I mean, it makes you wonder, and I think we read somewhere, because you would think, well, if he's the lawgiver and the law enforcer, you think he might be around now to enforce some of the laws, because it seems like a lot of people are certainly breaking the laws. But I seem to remember reading somewhere that when things get so bad that people, not only are they not following the laws, but they have no inclination to follow the laws, then he kind of withdraws or something. But I can't remember exactly what it is, but anyway.
Okay, next paragraph. The denizens of the planet Siddhaloka, where the residents can fly in the sky without airplanes, were anxious over Dhruva Maharaj's welfare in the battlefield. Srila Rupa Goswami says, therefore, that not only is the devotee well protected by the Supreme Lord, but all the demigods and even ordinary men are anxious for his security and safety. The comparison given here, that Dhruva Maharaj appeared to merge in the ocean of the Yakshas, is also significant. When the sun sets on the horizon, it appears that the sun drowns in the ocean, but factually the sun has no difficulty. Similarly, although Dhruva appeared to drown in the ocean of the Yakshas, he had no difficulty. As the sun rises again in due course at the end of night, so Dhruva Maharaj, although he might have been in difficulty, because after all it was a fight, and in any fighting activities there are reverses, that did not mean that he was defeated. So, nice point made actually, that a devotee of the Lord is not just protected by Krishna, but all the demigods and ordinary men are also anxious for his security and safety. Nice point, to feel you're not alone.
Yeah, and such great personalities looking after you. A couple things excuse me, stood out. First one is that, you know, Prabhupada cites Rupa Goswami here, which we don't often hear commentary by Rupa Goswami, and I'm just wondering if Rupa Goswami commented on this section, or if Prabhupada is just saying that in general, Rupa Goswami says that, you know, not only is the devotee well protected by the Supreme Lord, but all the demigods. So maybe he just quoted that separately. The other thing is that, and I don't know why, but I make notes, and I made a note when we read this once before, and I marked this last couple of sentences, and in my notes I put hilarious. And I couldn't figure out why, because why I would put that. Similarly, although Dhruva appeared to drown in the ocean of the Yakshas, he had no difficulty. As the sun rises again in due course at the end of night, so Dhruva Maharaj, although he might have been in difficulty, because after all it was a fight, and in any fighting activities there are reverses, that did not mean that he was defeated. So, don't know. It's interesting how different times that you read, depending on what you're experiencing in life, your experience of the Bhagavatam will be different. And yeah, somehow, I guess when I read that before, I just thought it was hilarious, like funny, that although it appeared that he had drowned in the ocean of the Yakshas, but you know, there are always reverses in fights.
Yeah, you may have been going through stuff yourself and looked at it like, yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Anything could have been happening. Okay. It's my turn. Text 15. The Yakshas, being temporarily victorious, exclaimed that they had conquered Dhruva Maharaj. But in the meantime, Dhruva's chariot suddenly appeared, just as the sun suddenly appears from within foggy mist. Purport. Here, Dhruva Maharaj is compared to the sun, and the great assembly of the Yakshas to foggy mist. Fog is insignificant in comparison with the sun. Although the sun is sometimes seen to be covered by fog, in fact the sun cannot be covered by anything. Our eyes may be covered by a cloud, but the sun is never covered. By this comparison, the sun, the greatness of Dhruva Maharaj in all circumstances, is affirmed. Yeah, so just these different analogies, I think it's quite self-explanatory.
Alright, text 16. Dhruva Maharaj's bow and arrows twanged and hissed, causing lamentation in the hearts of his enemies. He began to shoot incessant arrows, shattering all their different weapons, just as a blasting wind scatters the assembled clouds in the sky. Text 17. The sharp arrows released from the bow of Dhruva Maharaj pierced the shields and bodies of the enemy, like the thunderbolts released by the King of Heaven, which dismantled the bodies of the mountains. Text 18 and 19. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, the heads of those who were cut to pieces by the arrows of Dhruva Maharaj were decorated very beautifully with earrings and turbans. The legs of their bodies were as beautiful as golden palm trees. Their arms were decorated with golden bracelets and armlets, and on their heads there were very valuable helmets bedecked with gold. All these ornaments lying on that battlefield were very attractive and could bewilder the mind of a hero. Purport. It appears that in those days soldiers used to go to the battlefield highly decorated with golden ornaments and with helmets and turbans, and when they were dead the booty was taken by the enemy party. Their falling dead in battle with their many golden ornamental dresses was certainly a lucrative opportunity for the heroes on the battlefield. Yeah, what's that term? Yeah. Oh God, it's gone. Maybe if someone remembers it. It might be an English term about getting all the booty from the battlefield. Oh, it's gone. But that's where it comes, there's an origin.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't remember hearing of it before. Of course, I must have read it before, but I don't remember that. But yeah, you can imagine everyone's fighting and so much wealth just there on the bodies of those on the battlefield. Whereas these days you go out with minimal stuff. You certainly wouldn't go with bangles and earrings and rings and turban and everything. No, nowadays, not to get political, so we won't, but nowadays, like in England and America, that's my experience, soldiers are complaining when they come back that there wasn't enough uniform and ammunition and weapons. This is a common complaint, just basic things like that. If you're going to send people out to war or whatever, at least let basic things like what they're supposed to be wearing and the weapons and that, let alone, as you said, gold, not just fancy clothes, but gold and fancy. Who's got time to put a turban on when you're going to fight a battle? Lord, so it's so interesting, isn't it? It's just different. And don't forget, Dhruva Maharaj himself is there up front fighting. And again, we're not talking about any particular country or war here, because it actually applies to, I would say, nearly all, where the leaders are in the bunkers and they're hiding away, and it's poor young lads in the front line giving up their lives for what people are not even brave enough, or should I say man enough or woman enough, whatever, to be on the battlefield with them. But here
Dhruva and any battle, like Battle of Kurukshetra, or any war, Pandavas or anyone, they don't hide back. They're on the battlefield. Everyone's there. You know, Bhishma Devi's there, and Dronacharya. Whenever, you know, Lord Ramchandra, whoever's fighting, they're there. They don't act. The leader doesn't mean I then lead from the back, as it were.
Yeah.
So that's an important point as well, because you could say Dhruva Maharaj could have quite easily, to avenge his brother's death, and that he could have easily sent his army out and said, go on, sort them out, you know, and everyone's going to be deaf on both sides. But he went with them, and he's at the front and leading the charge, and that's...
Well, as far as I can tell, no, it's not that he went with someone. He's
he
like the only
himself.
bloody one there, you know? It's like he didn't even have an army.
Well, there you go.
It's just him against this colossal
Him
army
against
of
the
yakshas.
world, rage against the machines, as it were.
All right, so
All right.
We'll stop there, and we'll pick up again on in the next episode.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.